Welcome to the Rock and Recovery Talk Show.
Hi everybody, and welcome to this week's show of Rock and Recovery. I'm Carol Michelle, and today on the show we have Deputy Mike Favata.
Yeah, thank you for having us on. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. You've been on the show before.
Yes. Yep.
And you do a lot in our community as far as going into the schools, education, awareness.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us a little bit about what's going on with the Sheriff's Department right now?
Well, it's an ever-evolving task force. So, we have said many times we have three parts. You have your enforcement, which we've done since law enforcement was around. Go after the bad people, try to get the drug dealers. And then we get to the point where we're doing our outreach and our education. And the education outreach, by far, are some of the most important things that we do. That's what you do. And the organizations that we are so lucky to have here, and I'm not just saying it because it's Monroe County. I look at what other counties are doing. I look what other states are doing. And you look at how many resources we have, it's phenomenal. And then the partners that we have, you look at just going outside of Monroe County and working with Macedon Police there, Steve McNair. He's wonderful. I mean, he is just as passionate, if not more, than I am with this. And he's trying to do his own thing out there in Wayne County and get things going and doing really good things. But with the sheriff's office, again, Sheriff Baxter has been very, very vocal about our commitment to this. We're not stopping. People are saying, "Oh, the numbers are down. The numbers are down." We look at the numbers daily, but we don't gauge anything off of that. Until we're at zero, then we can say that we accomplished something. But right now the goal is, we call it our kidnapping, of going to houses once that person's overdosed or somebody contacts us about a relative who they know is struggling, so we can hopefully get them into treatment or get them at least the numbers and resources that are available to them. And we do that all the time. Mm-hmm. So, and it's we have a dedicated line now that the road patrol is giving out, that let's say they go to a larceny at Wegmans. Why is this person stealing? What are you doing? Kind of build that, instead of just doing the paperwork and sending them on their way. Let's get to the reason why. Because then you look at the harm reduction that it is through the community. Now we remove that person from wanting to commit crime to feed that addiction that they've been fighting. The harm reduction throughout the community. You're not out there again committing crimes. We want to see people succeed. We want to see people doing well, and that's the sheriff and I were just talking a few weeks ago, and he's always says, "So how are we saving lives today?" So it's an interesting approach, because I still have a blank slate. The sheriff never gave us directives of, you got to do it in this order. Mm-hmm. And not just because he's my boss, but how many people at his caliber will hand the group of us on the task force with one specific job, and that is save lives. That's it. Let's figure out how to do that. So, and that's what we're doing, trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
We're still working on that.
Well, I'll tell you, I love Todd Baxter, and when he was running for sheriff, he said that he wanted to do something to help with the drug crisis that we're in. Mm-hmm. He said that there needs to be transparency, there needs to be some changes made, and I have to tell you, he's done everything plus. Everything that he said he would do plus more.
Oh yeah. I go back to when we were brought into a room to say, okay, this is what I campaigned on, and what are we going to do? How are we going to build this? What are we looking at here? And it wasn't just, we took ideas from people across the board. I mean, not only from inside the sheriff's office, but at the time it was Lieutenant Eliza, who's now a captain. I can't tell you how many meetings we went on where an organization like you would reach out, or the hospital would reach out, or this doctor, this whatever it may be, and they would just throw their ideas at us and say, "Hey, we want to be part of this." And the Lieutenant Eliza and I would go back and discuss what we had, and then talk about it with the guys on the enforcement side to say, "Hey, look at your enforcement. What do you think of this? How would this work with the people that you guys work with?" And it was just a constant evolving. We had emails from the court. I remember a couple court deputies had sent suggestions to us on what they see and what they can do. So it was, we opened this right up to say, okay, how do we build this and make it work? And it's still brand new. I mean, we haven't figured anything out yet. So
Yeah.
I mean, we figured out enough where we're able to get some people in. We have, when we say a success story, when we see somebody like, let's say Jeremy Marconi, who has been on the news, I mean, he's just over a year clean, in recovery, doing, being the person he was prior to fighting this addiction. And, I mean, plenty more. I mean, we have, there's a list of people who are doing fantastic, and, it's one of those things where that's what, we try to model after that and look at each one of these cases and try to make it work for the next person, but everybody's different.
Yeah. I love that, and I love the story that I saw on the news. You're quite a familiar face on TV lately.
No, yeah, well, I'd rather just kind of be able to do my job, but, and that's when it comes down to the transparency. Is again, you said, what Sheriff Baxter said is that he wants to be transparent in everything that we do, not only in the heroin task force, but across the board what the sheriff's office does. But, when this story, when Bernadette wrote that letter, and then Berkeley Green had contacted and said, "Hey, can we do a story on that?" She was like, "Absolutely, let's do it. Let's show and give people hope." And I give Berkeley a lot of credit, because he's like, I want to show the public that there is hope. I want to show that good, feel-good story. I mean, that was his motive behind it, was I want to do something to show people that, there is hope, even though, I mean, look at Jeremy's life. He turned it around. And we don't save anybody. And I want to make that clear. The sheriff's office isn't saving anybody's life. We're just one of the tools that give people the ability to save themselves. Jeremy Marconi saved himself. You saved yourself. It wasn't a cop. It's that person who wanted to make that conscious choice and be able to be. I mean, I look at struggling with food. Like I try to eat good, and it's, I mean, it doesn't even compare. I'm not comparing trying to stay off of carbs or not eating candy or ice cream at night compared to somebody who is in heavy with the drugs that are out there. When I look at somebody like, again, Jeremy or you, and I don't want to put names out there that have done very good that we've come in contact with, they did it to themselves. I mean, I can't make it. I don't go there and say, okay, you're good, you're cured from addiction, you'll never overdose again. It's not how it works. So we're just, like I always say, we're in that little toolbox of our resource to be just a little bit more persuasive than most.
And that's fantastic. And it does take the person to want to change and to make that step. But when they are ready, and you provide different avenues, and you give them different options that can help them, it definitely makes a huge difference.
Yeah, you look at, I mean, some of the people, a majority of the people that I go out and try to get into treatment, if I can locate them. Just because I get an address that they lived at one point, it doesn't mean they're still there. These people have typically burned so many bridges that they don't have a place to rest their head. And it's another obstacle in itself is, let's say I can't get them into treatment for a day or two. What am I doing between that day and two? Where can I put them? And it's another challenge in itself, because I remember having a mother, her and I going back and forth for days trying to locate her son, and she would spot them down by the zoo, and I'd run down there to see if I could find them. And then the sisters contacted me, and it turned out to be the mom calling me at 6 in the morning saying the son just showed up at my daughter's house. He's there. Can you get there? And sitting in the room with this kid for an hour, trying to get him to go. And then the whole family was there, and he got on his bike and rode away. Didn't want to go. No matter who was there, mom, dad, sister, me, nothing, but it just wasn't the timing for that. But a week later, he went into treatment.
Wow.
And it wasn't because of what I did. It was mom saying, such and such finally, he's in. He went in. So you got to try. Maybe it was that 1 week that he sat there, maybe let that marinate of what happened in that bedroom with, a police officer and his family. Maybe that was the trigger that got him to that point to say, okay, this is that. We like to think that was, the case. So, yeah, we hope, right?
Usually it's a combination of things that all work together. But one thing that I can say for sure is knowing you, okay, and some other members of the Monroe County Sheriff's Department, there's a heart and a love for people that I don't ever remember seeing in law enforcement before. Maybe I missed it, but it's different now. And just your attitude and your care for people, I think makes a huge difference.
I think one of the most important things is recognizing behavior at a young age with your kids when they're, maybe doing things that, when you talk to your friends about, an action they take, or, all kids are naughty. I have 4 children, and each one always has their challenges. They do things that, you scratch your head and you're like, I told them 1,000 times not to do that, and you just go and do it. But then, as I've talked to parents, and as you and I were speaking earlier, talking to 2 separate parents in the last 2 days, they're now adult children, I should say. They're still, always, no matter how old, they're always your kids. When they look back and they say, I noticed this behavior in my child at such a young age, whether it be 11, the other one was, she started to notice changes in her daughter when she was about 15 and 14, 15-ish. And she said, if I would have went after, and they both said it, I wonder if, but think it would have been different if I would have got help for them at that point versus here we are, I'm talking to a police officer about getting my child help. And, it's, you look at the pediatric doctors now and what they have. I know I spoke to our pediatric doctor many times just because they know what I do, and I always ask a lot of questions. What Dr. Mendoza says, who again is just a wonderful person, and they'll all say the same thing is, seek professional help, or at least talk to your doctor, talk to your pediatrician about what your child's doing. And then also the thing is, we talk about marijuana, like I've had several parents or people in general just say that the reason I'm so against, the reason law enforcement against marijuana is because it's illegal and we don't want to legalize it. Let's remove all that. Let's look at what can marijuana cause, and we're not here to debate whether it should be legal or not legal, but the marijuana that's out there today is so much more powerful in the trigger in the child's brain of the endorphins and the excitement and the risk behind it, and trying to achieve that that high that they get off of that first time they use. They can never replicate that. And nobody's fault. You can't blame a parent. You can't blame the guardian for not. People need to be more aware, more in tune of what's going on with their kids. I speak at the schools for the health classes, and it's great. I enjoy being there. I know your daughter Carly did an awesome job. It was fun, working in conjunction with her on a presentation, because she's the real deal. And I'm speaking from a perspective of a food addiction. As I always make the joke about, we just talked about. I love to eat. And
as do I.
As everybody, you get that one food that you just, you crave it, and if it's in the house, you're going to eat it, but it doesn't. I'm not getting sick if I don't have it, and that's where people who've never actually dealt with somebody battling addiction, they can't understand that.
Right.
You know, you can't force them to understand that, they just don't get better. You just can't say, okay, well, just stop, you know. Yeah, I can stop for 2 weeks and eat perfect. And then I go on my, binge of, eating everything I should eat and make up for that 2 weeks. And, here we are. But it's, that's not going to kill me.
Yeah.
And, but no, overall, I want people to put their electronics down and take a look at your kids, spend some time with them. That's what's important.
Mm-hmm.
I love going into schools and talking to them. There's no electronic devices out. It's just me interacting with the kids, trying to engage with them as much as I can. I make it fun. I show them pictures and of scenes, fatal overdoses. I show them a great video of Stop the Spiral, which is a fantastic video for parents, not only kids, but it's more geared toward the parent. And it's really there isn't an answer. It's you just, Carol, you can't sit there and say, it's just one particular action that your kid did on this day that is going to say that he or she is going to be battling addiction in 6-7 years.
Mm-hmm. One thing that you said, though, about parents being able to recognize changes that are going on.
Yeah.
And I know for me, I wondered why my dryer sheets were missing. It's like I'm always buying these freaking dryer sheets. I don't know what they are, and it's like went over my head. Wasn't really thinking anything of it.
Yep.
Why are my spoons bent? I don't know why my spoons are bent,
Yeah.
right? And I'm thinking they must have had ice cream. The ice cream's hard to get out of the container,
Yep.
right? But a combination of that and the attitudes and the behaviors of the kids of, first of all, being very protective of their phone, like very, you can't see it and always have it in their hands. That's one thing that I saw is like a warning sign.
Sure.
And the other thing is either the change of friends or the isolation, right?
Oh, yeah.
Loss
Yeah.
of interest in like family activities.
Everything.
Yeah.
It's every reward system is really depleted. It's, I work with a gentleman whose birthday is actually coming up. He's going to be 56 years old. And you look at just years and years and years of the abuse of synthetic drugs, your opioids, smoking crack cocaine, and literally losing everything. And you talk to him now, and here's a guy who used to love to hunt, love to fish, took care of, loved going to the gym. He just doesn't have that drive. He's clean. He's been 100% clean for over 3 years. I mean, I give, again, the credit to him to have beat this to this point. And I strongly believe he's going to continue on in recovery. You're always in recovery. And but he'll never get that drive back to the things he enjoyed, because it does do that damage to that reward system. But with kids, when they're developing at such a young age and how rapidly it develops, you want to curb that. You want to get that person help. So there's 1,000 resources right here in Monroe County. And I think that our next plan of attack is maybe hinting on that smaller group, maybe going to the PTA meetings. I know we're talking about doing a big event for the HERO program at MCC in March, which we just met about that this morning, and we're going to be presenting it to the school. But it's going to be a good thing for parents to come and see. They're going to hear great speakers. They're going to see exactly what happens in an overdose. And, it's, as we say, it's a mock overdose. It's like we do the mock DWI for the kids. It just gives them, hey, this is it. And then hearing people speak who've been there. Patrick Burns overdosed 44 times, died 22, had to relearn his life 22 times. He's I take my hat off to him. I mean, that's an amazing accomplishment of somebody. People can say they accomplished something financially, or they got a beautiful family, they've done great, they got their doctorate or their man. Somebody like this, 44 times. I mean, it's incredible. And to me, that is somebody that I admire for what he's done. And But, you know, it is, it really comes down to is paying attention to your family, your friends, being a voice for them, and, you know, not being afraid to seek help if you need help. You know, I mean, it's hard. I get it. But, yeah, so that's it.
A lot of it has to do with the guilt or the shame that a parent is feeling too. Like, how can I tell somebody that this is going on with my child? I want to protect them.
Sure.
But sometimes the best way to protect them is to expose whatever it is that's going on.
You know, things are obviously so much different now than what it used to be. So, you know, looking at, you know, you have the resources at your fingertips now. It's not like you're opening up a phone book and going through to look for something. I mean, this is real. You know, get in your phone, type in what you need, call your doctor. There's 1,000 ways to do it. And it's not like you know, if you call the sheriff's office, it stays here. I don't broadcast who we've helped unless they want to be out there, unless they've said to me, hey, you know what, thank you for what you know, did for us. Let's, you know, what can we do to help you guys out? Well, come out with me. Get your message out there. Speak at an event. Give people, you know, an actual face and a person who beat this at this point. And that it took that phone call, or it took, you know, that first step to get there. 'Cause it's just not going to happen.
Right.
So.
And it's important. With that comes the hope.
Absolutely.
The disease of addiction can be arrested, and you can go on to live a good life.
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, you're in control of everything, and like I said, you know, you and I are just one of several pieces in this puzzle to get people to where they need to be. And I just happen, you know, to have a cool car and, you know, access to the information that allows me to go out and contact these people where they may not have made that choice, you know, that call themselves. So when I get the overdose report, you know, I have the list and the names, and I have everything about that person. And that is fantastic, because that is, you know, they knock on the door, or, you know, maybe I end up talking to their parents, or, you know, a spouse who hasn't seen them in quite some time, and it finally gets me in, you know, face to face with this person. And sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't, but we always follow up too. You know, it's not like we always give it one chance. You know, we'll come back and explore it again, because you never know how they're feeling at that moment. A lot of times, just less than 24 hours. You know, and you think about how fresh that overdose was. You know, are they sick? What are their thoughts at that time? You know, and people are saying, "No, you got to catch them from the first 24." I don't think there is a window of opportunity. Everybody's different. So, yeah.
That's very true. We're going to go to a break, but we'll be back. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Rock and Recovery. I'm here with Deputy Favata, and thank you for sharing all of your insights and stuff on what's happening in our community.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Do you think that the bail reform that is coming up is going to have an effect on our community as far as the addiction crisis?
It's going to, not only from the addiction crisis, I mean, across the board. I mean, it's the most foolish, there's not even a word to describe what this does. I mean, you have many people who are incarcerated right now who are getting fed, they're getting treatment that they need. If we didn't have a sheriff who actually cares about people, who's working right now and trying to find placement for people who are getting released because they have nowhere to go, the walls are already bursting at these like the Open Door Mission and all these homeless shelters, because where are these people going?
Right.
You know, and you're doing it in the worst time of the year. You know, it's cold outside. You know, the risk factor. Listen, certain people deserve to be released. I get it. We're not contesting that. What we're contesting is that there was no plan on how to make this work. There was nothing. It was, this is what we're doing. But January 1st, this takes effect. You got to have everybody up until that date released, because we can't obviously do 200 plus people at 11:59 at night. You know, it's scary.
there's a lack of wraparound services. Like for people who are getting out, it's like you said, where will they go? And I have a feeling that we could probably do a whole nother show on this, Mike.
Oh, yeah. I, between the district attorney's office and the sheriff's office and every law enforcement, I mean, Van Brederall obviously has been very, very, very outspoken on this, which is wonderful. I mean, I love that man. But, yeah.
Well, thank you for
You're
that,
welcome.
Mike. I really appreciate it, and thank you for everything that you do for our community.
Yeah,
And
it's a team effort.
Yeah.
We don't do it alone.
yeah.
That's for sure. So,
Okay. Well, you're invited to come on the show again. I know we got
I
a lot
will.
more to talk about, so we'll see you next time on Rocket Recovery. Bye, everybody.
take care.